Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yep.
You read that correctly.
This is not just some clickbaity title to try and get you to watch our video. The truth is that my mom had my baby. Sorry. Now, for those of you that have been following our journey for a while, you know that that's not quite as wild as it probably seems on the surface level, aka no incest was needed in the making of this baby. Sorry. Okay, let's do a little backstory first.
When we initially started our journey of becoming parents,
Elliot and I knew from the very beginning that we were going to need to rely on the people around us to help us build a family.
we booked an appointment at the fertility clinic, but we didn't really have any idea what that journey was going to look like.
Elliot's sister generously offered to donate her eggs for us, and then through a weird series of unexpected events, somehow my mother became the gestational surrogate for us.
We went with it by our doctor's recommendation.
And although we didn't plan this, she ended up making history by becoming the oldest woman in the United States to give birth to a baby.
If you're curious more about the logistics of all of that journey, we do have other videos and articles and pieces you can read, and we'll make sure we link some of those below.
The story of the grandma giving birth to her own grandchild has been told all around the world. It made global news. So instead, today we thought we'd focus more on a behind the scenes kind of raw, unfiltered video that shows you our journey of how my mom became the surrogate for our baby. All right, let's do this. What do you have to say to both Uma and Daphne and all the future children?
Let the fun begin.
Yeah, girl.
So what you saw right there was my mom getting her first progesterone shot that rebooted her cycle.
And very shortly after, in a matter of a week or so, she had her first period again in a decade.
She had just passed a series of extensive tests to prove that she would be a viable candidate for us. So once she was ready and approved, we had an official embryo transfer date scheduled.
We transferred the first embryo.
Here she is on that day, and if you can't tell already, she's very high in Valium at this point.
All right, you ready to
Here
go?
we go.
Okay.
We got everybody
All
here. We got Mom and Dad, Jody,
All right.
Matt,
Matt, go.
Elliot.
Yeah, and then. All right.
Here we go. History in the making.
There we go. Okay.
History in the making.
Oh,
I want Seal to narrate the whole thing.
All right. Gotcha. Good luck.
So that little speck of pepper that you see on the screen right there, that's Uma.
There it is. That's why we all started out. Yeah.
And one thing that really trips me and Elliot out is the fact that this egg right here that ended up becoming Uma has actually existed and lived within 3 different women in our family. So obviously my mom, but his sister who was the egg donor, and even more special, Elliot's late mother. So Uma has quite literally come from such 3 powerful, generous, compassionate women. And here she is being placed in her little grandma garden to bloom and come into this world.
that's it, that little white dot?
That's it.
Let's bring it down there
We
from the
hope.
lab.
So shortly after that embryo transfer, we were told that we need to wait about 2 weeks until we return back to the doctor to see if the embryo stuck. And of course, my mom and I had no patience, and we decided to get a pregnancy test about on the 5th day. And on that 5th day, my mom texted me and said that it was negative. And so, of course, I was devastated and so sad, and I drove over to their place, and in this desperate act, I wanted to see the pregnancy. I wanted to see the results. And when I looked at it in the bathroom, I could swear that I saw the most faint second line. And so I ran out and we had to hide it from my dad. And I'm like, Mom, I think that there's a second line. And she literally said, shut the f up. And she pushed me over. She looked at it and she's like, oh, honey, I think you're making this up. I don't see a second line. She thought I was like disillusioned and that I was just like optimistically hoping to see the second line. I made her do the pregnancy test again. And she's like, no, Matthew, I don't think so. You poor baby. And then a few minutes passed and all of a sudden she's like, Oh, there it is. So we always made a joke that although her body and her uterus may be that of a 30-year-old, her eyes certainly were that of a 60-year-old.
So we were very excited that she became pregnant with the first embryo transfer.
So after the pregnancy, we ended up moving forward and we went to every ultrasound. We got to listen to the first heartbeat. We got to see Uma develop into this being, into this actual thing that came from nothing and became something.
So you can see, like, this is an arm bud. Oh, and there's another arm bud up there. Those are legs starting to come off.
So as the pregnancy went along,
At that point, it was full speed ahead, and
you know, we had no guidelines on terms of like how this should look.
we were having conversations with my mother-in-law that I never anticipated having with an in-law.
There was 3 boundaries that we were not going to overstep.
The 3 rules that she set were that
One,
I won't breastfeed the baby.
boobs were out of commission. She had no plans on nursing or breastfeeding.
she knew that we were huge proponents of breast milk, so she probably was nervous that we were going to ask her for that. This is totally inappropriate, but one of the funniest troll comments that we got online when our story went viral was someone put, "Damn, that baby probably went for the nipple hoping to get breast milk, and instead they just got a lot of sour cream." You know, what are you gonna do if she latches or tries to go for your nipple? Do you remember what you said in response?
Oh, well, because it's just a golden rule. I'd slap her away just like I do your daddy. Nope, not today. The shop's closed.
2,
The second rule.
You will never ever see the vajayjay area.
I would like to clarify that literally none of us wanted to break that rule.
we were allowed to be in the room, but we were not going to be at first base, as she said.
That was a taboo. You were never going to be anywhere in that vicinity.
And 3,
And the third and final rule,
If you were going to keep the placenta, I didn't want to know nothing about that.
she would always say, "I don't care what you do with it. I want to make a lasagna out of it, whatever. Just keep that hippie stuff away from me."
That's between you and the doctor. Just let them know that they got to put it in a Ziploc and take it home, but I didn't want it.
We are a little hippie. We wanted to get her a doula, but we're not that hippie.
So those were the 3 guidelines that I put before we moved forward into any of the rooms.
So as the pregnancy progressed, we realized that my mom would get bigger and people would probably notice.
we didn't share it with a lot of people what we were doing, mostly because it felt really vulnerable, but we obviously let our close friends and family know, and telling people was always a really interesting experience.
So this is what's been going on. Matt had talked to Dr. Doherty and had told them that there was someone that would volunteer to do it. Well, you guys, that someone is me. I went in and she talked to me and said, there is absolutely no reason why you couldn't carry the baby for them. I have done extensive testing.
You're still with us. You got a stroke for coming.
So they had me do all kinds of testing. Every time I went, it was like,
God,
check, and they're like, there's no reason. There's absolutely no reason. So we've been moving forward, did the process, had everything IVF done. As of now, I am carrying their little baby.
What?
Like right now you're pregnant? I am grandmama right now, but no, I'm just very blessed that I can do this for Matt and Elliot.
And things just kept going surprisingly smooth. Like every single appointment was good news. It was just full speed ahead. Things were feeling so exciting. And though it was uncharted territory, our doctors were confident. Everything just kept working out. And it was just, there was so much momentum and excitement.
She was just like, she kept her head was down.
But as fun as everything was, it still was a pregnancy and my mom had to deal with us. What was the most annoying, difficult, challenging, annoying thing about having 2 gay boys when you were the gestational carrier?
The helicopter parents. Just the hovering over me, like what did you do? What did you eat? Take this pill, take that pill. Don't do this pill, do this pill. Oh wait, this week you'd eat this. This week you don't eat that. But this week you do this. And I think the worst is when you said the first week when I was vomiting, you said you have to put more spinach in your drinks. That was pretty powerful.
We're like, more green
really?
seal.
And then
Trying
when
to
you
make her
came
strong.
home with those big vitamin pills, and then you said add fish pills to them, the fish oil pills to them, I'm like, okay.
And then what about like the freezer situation? I know you were kind of mad about that.
Well, you did gave away some good lunch meat. Yeah.
You went through her
freezer.
He went, oh no.
Oh my
That
God,
was
he
the
went
first
through
week. He goes,
everything.
nope.
You can't
And
eat lunch meat when you're pregnant. Despite these hurdles, the pregnancy moved along pretty swimmingly, and Uma kept developing more and more and more, and then there just became a day. I remember the day I woke up at 4 in the morning and I could feel something different, and I had Elliot put his hand on my heart. That morning, my mom messaged us and said that her blood pressure was high and was continuing to get high, and so we texted our doctor, and the doctor said, bring her on in, it's time for a birthday party.
And then she was born, and we were all there together in the hospital through the whole labor. We drove there together, we arrived together. We were there for every part of the delivery process, and that is one of the most impactful moments of my life, being there when Uma was born.
Okay, stop pushing for a second. New birthday smile. There we go. Push, push.
Is she crying? I can't possibly begin to describe how important this moment was, because not only was it excitement and joy, but it was relief and just the culmination of all of our creation, the collaborative work that it took on our behalf, and the fact that for years it had been this imaginary idea, and then to hear that cry for the first time, and to know also that my mom was okay and that we did it. We did this thing. Oh no, I can't handle it.
He's looking at you guys.
You feel better, Mom? After Uma's birth, we were closer than we've ever been before.
It brought us all so close together, and we all got to witness each other in such vulnerable and tender ways. And one of the most powerful things was seeing Matt's parents' relationship and seeing the way that Matt's dad showed up for Matt's mom.
Here we all are after a few weeks after Uma was born. Both Elliot's family and my family all got together, and my dad did such a beautiful job of kind of summarizing what the whole journey meant for us.
To kind of top it all off so that everybody understands, it was the very last entrance I made in my personal journal that I wrote for my granddaughter Uma. Here's what it says. 6:06 a.m. It is the 5th contraction and the final push for your grandmother. You have arrived. The resident immediately lays you on grandmother's chest, and you begin to whimper in a low, raspy voice. Your grandmother looks up at me with a beautiful smile and these endless tears of joy. I feel I'm losing it. So I look back at Dad and Papa and see them completely broke down and just sobbed. Big tough Grandpa just loses it. Welcome, my love, you are beautiful. 5 pounds, 13 ounces.
It's just wild because that was, 2 years ago, and time is passing by so quickly, and to see Uma now traveling with us and just being our best buddy and becoming this human. Yeah, time is like fleeting, and I think how important it is to treasure these moments with our family.
Let's raise our glasses. Elliot, Matt, Leah, Sam, thank you for this wild and beautiful journey. Here.
Everyone here.
Cheers, cheers.
Thanks for joining us on our wild and wonderful adventure. Tune in for our next video, our 2-part episode of Baby Grandmama, where my parents reunite with their granddaughter for the first time since her family began full-time travel. See you then.